Greetings and welcome to another edition of Caring for Seniors. I am your host, Adrienne Houghton. Now, each week I sit down with Dave Stieglitz, who is the president of Oasis Senior Advisors Jacksonville, and we discuss all aspects of senior living. Today we're going to focus on Oasis Senior Advisors and what they do. Welcome, David.
Welcome, Adrienne. It's good to be back.
So I know some people haven't watched this program, and so let's tell them a little bit more about Oasis, because we're going into 2022, and some people may think that 2021 was not a good year.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to be here, and yeah, 2022 is exciting to turn that corner. 2021 was a great year for Oasis. We had a record year. We doubled our revenue from the year before. We have a great team of advisors out here that have all been on a previous show. So it's not just a one-man show, but just, I guess, some basic Oasis 101. We cover from the Georgia border all the way down through New Smyrna and over to DeLand. We've got pretty much the whole First Coast covered. And when I say cover it, our strength is our personal knowledge of all the licensed assisted living and residential care homes in that area that we cover. We spend time in the communities. We watch for the intangibles. You know, is the management stable? You know, if they're turning over their management every 6 months, that's not good for the residents.
Right.
Is the care staff stable? Do they have a good reputation? You know, there's word on the streets, and we listen to the word on the streets. Do they have a good reputation for care? Do they have good food? If you're going to live somewhere and all three of your meals are coming out of that kitchen, you might want to make sure you like the food that they're making.
Absolutely.
You know, do they have activities? They all have different personalities and cultures depending on what you're into. Are you a foodie? Are you into crafts? Are you into games? Are you a gamer? You want to play Rummy Cube or Mahjong or Bridge? Or, you know, some of them have some pretty intense bridge clubs. Some of them don't have a bridge player in the house. So if you're a bridge player, let's find the place that has the bridge club. So it's a very personalized service that we do, and we guide you to the places. You don't just want to go to the closest one down the street because it might not be the right fit. You know, you wake up and say, what am I doing here? I don't have anything in common with these people. So we really, I love the opportunity that you guys give us to get on here, because a lot of people don't know that a service like ours exists, that there's someone that can actually help them navigate that crazy maze of senior housing and get them into a place where they can engage and thrive and not just live.
So let's talk through the process. Somebody calls you and said, look, you know, maybe it's a relative, calls and says, yeah, you know, mum and dad maybe having a few issues, think that we need to explore what's out there.
Yes.
So they're not really convinced that it's something that they have to do now, but they're looking for the future and want to know more about it. So talk me through what happens then.
Yeah, so I love the point about not necessarily now. Just because you talk to us doesn't mean we're moving next week.
Right.
We love sharing information. I love when I'm invited into a home and there's a whole family around the table and we just start talking, you know, tell me about mom. What is she like? Tell me about dad. What is he like? What are you guys looking for? And, you know, and I can go into, you know, this is the basics of what these communities, they offer 3 meals a day. They offer weekly housekeeping. They offer activities, usually electric, water, cable, utilities are included. They offer transportation. I mean, and people, all that stuff, you know, because when you talk about the cost, you roll all that into it, it's not such a bad deal. But, you know, and as the conversation unfolds, different communities and things start to come to my mind based on what I'm hearing. Right. And then I love to say, okay, so the next step would be, let's go tour. Let's go kick the tires. And again, there's no cost or obligation. Our service is totally free. And so we go and so they can see what these places are like. Because I can describe them as best I can, but until you actually go see it. And I love it when we go and tour and their eyes get, oh, wow, look, this is nice. And look, all these people are actually happy, having fun. They're not just sitting there going, oh, another day at the home, you know.
And I'm sure that's what people think.
That's what they think.
That there's like, oh, it's all very sad and depressing.
Yes,
and, you know,
but
you
these people, a lot of them are there. They don't necessarily need a lot of help with anything but the socialization. Yeah. They're in a home in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is turned over. All the people that were there for the 30 years that they were there are gone. They don't have any friends or anything in common. Maybe they're not driving as much anymore, and their world is starting to shrink. It's a perfect time to think about it. But no, we meet with people, and then they call me 3 or 4 years later, says, Dave, I think we're ready now. Is there anything new on the market that we should see? Anything different that we should take a look at? And so I love, we do a lot of farming.
Right.
Okay. And the harvest comes at different times.
Yeah. And so say, for example, you've said, oh, they call me back 3 or 4 years later. Some obviously situations have changed, and so they update you, and then you can update them.
Yes,
and then hopefully there's a scenario that everybody is happy with.
Correct.
And obviously, if they're happy, you're happy.
Exactly.
I mean, it seems to me that it's much easier to do something with assistance than it is on your own.
With expertise.
Yes.
It's just like if you're moving to a new community and you want to find a house, okay? And do you have kids? Do you need a school district? Do you want a pool? How many bedrooms and bathrooms do you want? How big a lot do you want? I mean, all those things you tell your realtor.
Of course.
It's the same thing with me.
It's the same thing.
We find all those things, and then I guide you to the places that most closely match. And you're right. 3 or 4 years later, maybe now your health has changed. Before, maybe you were just looking for socialization and things like that, but now you've got maybe a significant medical thing has come up. Because, some of the communities are great for independent living and socialization and interaction and engagement, but they aren't that strong on the medical side, the clinical side. For example, if someone tells me I've got a client with Parkinson's, Parkinson's is a very specific, very progressive disease. I would not, and if you tell me you got Parkinson's, and at some point in time with the Parkinson's medicines, a lot of people don't know, but if I'm supposed to have my medicine at 1 o'clock and I don't get it till 1:15, I may be on the floor, just seized up. Okay, so it's the Parkinson's care is very specific. So if you tell me you got Parkinson's, there's probably only 2 or 3 places in town that I would entrust you to. They all say they can do it, but unfortunately I've learned
now your services are free?
Free. Absolutely.
No cost it's not going to cost anything.
No.
And it's not really going to hurt anybody if you just find out.
We've been in all of them, yeah. So why not? Why wouldn't you use an expert?
Well, it's good to talk to you as always.
Thank you, Adrian.
And I look forward to our next get-together.
Yes, ma'am.
When I find out more about Oasis Senior Advisors. And don't forget, if there's any more information that you would like to know, you can always find it on iwannabuzz.com.